What's up, everybody? Welcome into Lettermen Row. It is a late night at the Dispatch that Ohio State starting center Seth McLaughlin has suffered an injury in practice and could be ruled out for the season. It is a devastating injury for Ohio State. It is something that the Buckeyes did not want to have to deal with after already replacing Josh Simmons at left tackle. They moved Donovan Jackson from left guard to left tackle. They moved Carson Hinsman to left guard. And then now this with Seth McLaughlin. Sources tell Lettermen Row that, yes, there was an injury in practice. Obviously, they have to go through some confirmation processes to make sure and confirm everything. Obviously, the fear is the worst. And the fear is what is being reported. And the fear is, from people that Alex Gleitman and I at Lettermen Row have talked to. There is some fear that it will be season ending and that Seth McLaughlin's season will be over. Now, that is all at lettermenrow.com. If you want to get anything from that, go to lettermenrow.com right now. You will be able to read the story that I posted about 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. And it's completely free. So go over there to lettermenrow.com right now. And I implore you to get a membership to Lettermen Row, $1 for your first 7 days. Then for a year, you get 50% off. Alex Gleitman was all over this thing on the Letterman Lounge message board. All credit to him, and then all credit to Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch for breaking this first. Now, let's get to where Ohio State turns. I'm not going to be on here for very long because, quite frankly, it's 10:37 p.m., and I'm sure a lot of people would rather not have to listen to injury news this late at night. So the obvious candidate to go to center would be Carson Hinsman, correct? Because he started 12 games there last year, and Ohio State trusts him there and has, understanding of what he can do there because he did it for 12 games. Lettermen Row sources indicate that is not a guarantee that would be Carson Hinsman if they were to go. They're going to need a new center if the injury turns out to be as bad as it is. Lettermen Row sources indicate that it may not have to be Carson Hinsman. There is a possibility that Carson Hinsman could stay at left guard and continue to play next to Donovan Jackson. Those guys have played incredibly well together during these few games, especially that Penn State game. You think about the Purdue and Northwestern game; those guys were pretty good in those two games next to each other, and they were decent next to each other all year last year. The thing about it is those two have a lot of chemistry next to each other on the offensive line. You do not want to mess with that chemistry. You're trying to work out some kinks on the right side there with Josh Fryer and with Tegra Shabola still. They're coming along, but it doesn't look as clean as that left side. You love what you're getting on the left side from those two, in Donovan Jackson and Carson Hinsman. So who could be the center? It could be Carson Hinsman. They've got a couple days to figure it out, though. Sources indicate that it could also be Josh Padilla, which would be a surprise to a lot of people. But if you look at this, he's a second-year center by trade who absolutely, was coming along well in training camp, was a guy who Ohio State recruited to be a center. He was not somebody who they recruited to be a tackle or guard or a swing guy. He was recruited to be a center. Could he be a center? No, Jason, I'm just working on the fly here. I promise I would not do this if I was anything but sober. I promise, Jason. Ohio State has multiple centers who could play there. There's Luke Montgomery, there's Josh Padilla, and there's Carson Hinsman. Those would be the three main, culprits or candidates to be that. Now, Josh Padilla did take those second-team reps at Northwestern. He took reps against Purdue. So could he be the center for Ohio State? That is a question that certainly will need to be answered, but it's not one that's completely out of the question with Josh Padilla because that is a second-year guy who – it's the end of his second year. You should be making a push at that point to get into that role and to be ready to be the center of the future if and when Seth McLaughlin moved on to the NFL, because he was absolutely going to be an NFL draft pick, and I still believe he will be, regardless of what happens in his future. A Senior Bowl invite guy, just a really, really good player. Full transparency, I voted for Seth McLaughlin, my first team All-American center on my Football Writers Association ballot, because he's earned it. It was him and Parker Brailsford, the center from Alabama, who have played just above and beyond everyone else in the country. That is now gone. So you have to go between Luke Montgomery or Josh Padilla or Carson Hinsman. I think it would probably either be Hinsman sliding over to center and Austin Sarabelt or Luke Montgomery going to left guard, or it could be Josh Padilla going to center and you keep Carson Hinsman there at left guard and Donovan Jackson at left tackle. It is not the situation that Ohio State wanted. It is not the situation that Ohio State needed, especially ahead of a top 5 matchup, ahead of playing a Michigan defensive front that includes Mason Graham, who's going to be a top 10 NFL draft pick, and Kenneth Grant, who's probably going to be a first-round NFL draft pick. It's not the situation you want going against Derek Harmon or any of the Georgia defensive linemen or Texas defensive linemen or guys out in the middle from Alabama, whatever you think of them. They're still very physical, big players. It's not what you want if you're Ohio State. It's not what you needed if you're Ohio State for the Big Ten run or for a national championship run. It is not an injury that will keep Ohio State from getting to its goals. I do believe that it could be an injury that keeps Ohio State from reaching and getting past and hoisting trophies with those goals. Can Ohio State still win the Big Ten? Absolutely. Can Ohio State still beat Indiana and beat Michigan and beat Oregon? Yes. Can Ohio State patch together an offensive line? Yes. We've seen it because we saw Ohio State. We thought Ohio State was going to be done when Josh Simmons went down. And against Nebraska, to be honest, it looked a little bit like they were going to be with Zen Michalski at left tackle. Justin Fry and Ryan Day figured it out. They did. They put Donovan Jackson at left tackle. They put Carson Hinsman at left guard. They figured it out. Can they figure it out again? They're paid a lot of money to figure it out. Now it's time to figure it out. And whether that's Carson Hinsman at center, whether that's Josh Padilla at center, whether that's Luke Montgomery at guard or center, that's what's going to need to be figured out here in the next couple of days. We will talk to Ryan Day on Wednesday night in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center on the practice field for his lightning round press conference. I am sure we will be asking a lot of questions about this center position. It is a completely changed ecosystem now this week heading into a top 5 matchup against Indiana. I'm not going to be on here much longer. I just wanted to hop on and give you guys an update of what I know, when I know, and how. Alex Gleitman and I have been working on this for most of the night, and we will continue to work on it through Wednesday and through the rest of this week until we see the Buckeyes take the field on Saturday against Indiana with what appears to be what will be a new look offensive line with a new center. But the reality is that, like I said, I'll go through it just one more time and then we'll finish up here. Lettermen Row sources indicated that Seth McLaughlin suffered an injury on Tuesday. It could be an Achilles tendon injury. They still have to do preliminary and confirmation things, medical wise. So you can't truly confirm what it is, in this little bit of time. But that's what it is feared to be, as a season-ending injury. We will have so much more coverage at lettermenrow.com on the Lettermen Lounge message board. We're going to be talking about it basically all night and into Wednesday. Stick with us at Lettermen Row. If you're not a Lettermen Row member, become a member today. You get $1 for your first 7 days and then 50% off an entire year of coverage. That doesn't just get you some injury updates. It gets you all the way through almost next year's Michigan game at 50% off. I think that's a pretty good deal. And you see how hard we work to bring you guys the Lettermen Row coverage of the Ohio State Buckeyes that you know and love. Thanks for being here. I know it's late. I know you guys want a lot of information. I know that we're trying to provide you with a lot of information and maybe even more than everybody can handle. Really appreciate you guys hopping on it and spending 10 minutes with me here late night on a Tuesday. Not information I want to be giving, information that I have to be giving for Ohio State and a season-changing injury. So it's going to be a lot of new, and we'll be over at lettermenrow.com discussing it all. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it. Head over to lettermenrow.com. I'll be there discussing it.